Deborah, with her 30 years of being an entrepreneur and creating over 7 companies, knows exactly what it means to accept the mission. When you make that decision, when you accept the mission to become a solopreneur, to take yourself and your talents to market, then you embrace a life of not only unlimited possibilities, but also the unknown. It's an elixir of fear and bravery that only someone who's taken the leap really understands. On our show, Deb digs deep with her guests to highlight what you, the listener, wants to know. The stories, the whys, and the hows to navigate the journey to success. Get ready to hear from some of the most incredible mission takers from Generation Z to Boomers. So sit up, perk up, and get ready to be blown away. Now here is your host, Deborah Drummond.
Welcome back to the Mission Accepted podcast. You guys are amazing. You're so bold, you know? I mean, you know that you're the best, but you guys are so bold. I mean, some of the things that you send in, some of the things that you tell me you're doing, it's like, wow, it's like diving off the high board. It's amazing. And good for you that you are bold, because we have a very bold guest with us today. And I know if you can't see me, then you won't see me in this beautiful purple shirt that I'm wearing, which is one of my favorite colors. And this happens to be one of my favorite shirts because Ocean, as you know, the Gen Z that joins us on the show sometimes, he has this incredible fashion designer that he's been hanging with, and she made this shirt and I'm like, I'm taking it. You know what I mean? So, and it's perfect today because we have one of the boldest women that I know that has built her brand around authenticity, creativity, being courageous, who set her goals on being a librarian so no one would talk to her. Now she speaks and mentors and picks up awards all over the world. And she just happens to be wearing purple. So yes, I will admit I put my purple shirt on for a reason, because this is my new gal pal, Trish, from Down Under. And Trish, welcome to Mission Accepted.
Hi, I am delighted to be here. And you're so perceptive in knowing that I love purple.
Yeah, just a wild guess.
Yeah, I'm subtle about it.
All right, if you are listening and not watching, Trish is here in her gorgeous purple glasses, purple shirt, and yes, purple hair. All right, so Trish, let's talk a little bit about branding, because a lot of people like to come into the show. They are either looking to be entrepreneurs. They've heard people take the mission. If you've been following Trish's journey within Mission Accepted, she's been doing a trilogy with us, and she's talked about how she braved up and decided to take on the mission of being an entrepreneur, of being an author, of speaking up. And so I know that we've talked about, pre-show about your purple being actually part of your brand. And so because so many people listen to our show that actually are branding themselves, have branded themselves, want to know what to do and what it means, can you just kind of share with us how that all came about? Like, no one sits down probably in their first day of business and goes, I'm going to brand myself as purple. Maybe you did. Do share.
Oh. No, I didn't actually. No, I did not, because when I first started my business, I had a business partner who didn't like purple, and she refused to put purple into what has much purple as I wanted. So we ended up with turquoise and gold and a little bit of purple. So my purpleness, if you would like, has been there from the time I was young. Yeah, if there was something, if I had a favorite color, it was purple. I wore other colors because, hey, if you've been watching any of the or listening to any of the others, you'll know that I was an introvert and very much a shy person. So I was, not going to be making myself bold. I wore other colors. I conformed, so to speak. I know that one of the first jobs I went to, and it was very funny. I'll just real quick share because it's part of how I emerged. I had nail polish, and it was actually bright green nail polish. I was exploring being me. And I got the job, but after I got the job, they actually said to me, we nearly didn't give it to you because you had purple nail polish. And you were just a bit too out there. So I thought, that started a process in the back of my mind is, how far do you go to be who you are, and how far do you conform to what society thinks you should be? Now, this is back a bit. I'm going back a little bit, just after the Jurassic period. So not quite so far back to that.
All right.
So, and we've evolved. So what happened with my business was, as I grew into what I was doing, I wear more and more purple. I was still working in a lot of male-dominated industries, so I was being a little bit more conformist into what I wore. Corporate world, conformist. Fast forward in my business, and my business partner and I parted amicably. In that business, I started to be a little bit more who I was. And around about, it was my son, actually. My son introduced me to my hairdresser. Don't know about you, but I need a hairdresser who knows what he's doing, because if anybody asks me how do I want my hair, I have no freaking idea. You're the hairdresser. You're the expert. You tell me how I want my hair. So I've got to trust my hairdresser.
Right.
And around about that time, I'm in my business. I'm starting to become very much more confident in what I'm doing. And I said to him one day, I said, okay, I've had it. I've always had this inkling in the back of my head. I wanted to have my hair purple. I love purple. I wanted to be brave enough to put purple in my hair and just own who I was. And that started to coincide with believing in my message. So you need to go and listen to all the previous things I've been on where I talk about that. So he did it purple. Well, my family were not overly impressed. My husband just said, oh, okay, that's lovely, darling. Okay, I thought that was a pretty positive step. My then business partner looked at me and said, oh, no, Trish. Anyway, I just started to grow into that and I accepted it. Now, as it evolved, because I wore purple, the byproduct of that was people remembered who I was.
I'm
They
sure,
may not,
darling.
they may not remember my name, but they remember there's that purple lady. Oh,
Right.
I met you at a network meeting. They remember you were purple. And so slowly what evolved was it became my brand, because I took what I was, and as I grew into being authentic, as I grew into being owning who I am, I grew into having the confidence to say, well, this is who I am. I am unique. I am a bit quirky. I love purple and I'm not going to hide it. So it became my brand. It's what I work on. Now, I'm going to let you into a little secret. For all of those introverts out there, there is a very good byproduct of having purple hair and wearing purple. I was traveling with my mum overseas, and she said to me one day, she said, how come every time we get into a lift or we walk down the street, people smile at you and they say hello and you start a conversation? That's not like you. And I said, Mum, when I walk around with purple hair, people stop in the street. They say, love your hair. Oh, I love, wow, you're all put together. Or I walk into a network meeting and I meet someone. Do you know what? They've started the conversation, not me. And so for an introvert, that is an absolute gold mine. Because once they start the conversation, I've got something to talk about. And I make a joke about it. And it also helps me when I start speaking, when I'm quite often, I will say, let's get the elephant out of the room. For all those who know I like purple, I absolutely congratulate you on your perception, because I'm extremely subtle about it. And it breaks the ice. So there is a little secret to why I put myself out. But you've got to have the courage to do that. I've been told by speakers bureaus, we can't get you speaking gigs. And I said, why? Oh, because you're too colorful and corporations won't want to have someone so colorful in. And we want you to change the color of your hair. We want you to start wearing dresses and grow a few inches taller, but you can't do that. And I said to them, excuse me, but I talk about authenticity. I talk about being genuine, and you want me to change who I am so I can get more jobs. I said no, and I walked away, because I said those companies are the ones that need me to speak with them, because they're not looking at who I am. They're not looking at what I have to say. They're just looking at the first image. And I refuse to do so, because I am who I am. And if I try and change who I am, that is not being genuine. It's not being authentic. And people, you need to own your uniqueness. You really do. You need to have the courage. It's a lot easier a little bit today than it was when I first did it, but we still shy away from it. And as I said, the byproduct to my being purple is you start the conversation, not me.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because whether we're starting a business, whether we're just learning how to ask, whether we're starting to love ourselves and like ourselves, whether we're starting to deal with, what does bravery look like for us? What does courageous look like for us? We're also very cultural beings. We're also very genetic beings. I can hear the voice of my mom and my grandmother, and she could hear the voice of her mom and her grandmother, which is why we all, make turkey the same way, because that's how we were taught, and, that whole story, right? And it's very, very true. And I remember thinking about how I wanted to get a tattoo with my kids, and I wanted to have a bracelet, right, of script of just my kids' names. And one of the things that stopped me was, at that time, I was teaching a lot of brain health. And I thought, I'm not sure how well it's going to be received, me standing on stage talking about, the mitochondria or lymphatic, whatever I'm talking about, brain health, and I'm tattooed. It's interesting, right? It's very interesting, because we do have perceptions, and it's about being able to rise above the perceptions, or creating the situations that can support you being able to be authentic as well. You being able to have other speaking options, or whatever it is, creating the pathways for you to be able to stand in your authenticity. And you're absolutely right. It has gotten better and gotten better and gotten better. And there's, all sorts of things that people can do that are not going to affect their income or how people think about them. But I absolutely love how it's turned around to be your asset, how you've turned it around to be your asset. Because everyone, here's the thing, not everyone's going to like us or hire us anyways. And as many people that didn't want to hire you because you don't fit that structure, that corporate structure, there will be companies that you do fit that corporate structure, right? And I know I used to be called a professional hippie, and I used to go teach in banks, and I'm talking over 20 years ago, about holistic health, and I wore a suit. And it just made me more compatible to there. And then I would go teach infant massage, and I'd be, dressed very holistically, and it just made people comfortable. But it was about being authentic in no matter what you did. But now you get to be so much more expressive. So I think it's great that you also just talked about how it is an absolute icebreaker. It is an absolute icebreaker. And interestingly, even people that, people wouldn't call you shy, and they wouldn't call me shy, but people don't know what it takes to not be shy. Do you know what I mean? People don't know, like, I want to throw up before I go on stage, or, I have to hold a pencil when I'm talking to a certain amount of people, or, do you know what I mean? Like, all the things that we do to make ourselves comfortable. But yet even people that seem brave can be afraid to be authentic, speak the words we want to speak, wear the kind of jewelry we want to wear the kind of clothes, dye our hair. I mean, I've gone through, I was like, I'm going to get that tattoo when I'm a little older. I'm not going to I've said it, I'm not going to change the color of my nails when I'm doing a certain event. I'm not going to go black on my nails, even though I wanted to go black, because I'm going to be at an event. I mean, I think we do. So I commend you. I think that's fantastic.
Look, it's not easy sometimes, although it is, because I love purple. And I can guarantee you, I can walk into a shop and I can put my hand out, and first thing I touch will be purple. It just comes to me. And it makes it a hell of a lot easier when I'm trying to decide what to wear, because
side bonus.
Look, there are a lot of bonuses. I mean, I do wear other color. I wear black, and I will wear turquoise because I love turquoise, and they all go with purple. And occasionally I've been seen in red because there's a special day for red, and occasionally I've been seen in white because there's a special white. But I can tell, and Christmas, I can tell you right now, beginning of December, I wear Christmas t-shirt every day. And I had a challenge once, and people couldn't believe I had that many Christmas t-shirts. And you know what? I do have purple Christmas t-shirts.
Good to know.
Good to know. Doing fun. But it makes it easy to be able to stand. One of the things that happens, people, is that we get lost in the herd. We have this thing that we don't want to stand out. It's a cultural thing. It's a genetic thing. It goes back to group think, goes right back to hunters and gatherers days. You become part of the herd. Do not stand out, because the people who stand out usually got lopped off and eaten by the mastodon or culled out of the thing. So we have this thing, don't stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, people, and I found this when I started my business, when I started wanting to be, there are so many other people doing exactly what you do. There are so many speaker coaches out there. There's so many authors out there. There's so many life coaches. There's so many artists. There's so many accountants, scientists, inventors. But we are all unique.
Mm-hmm.
We all are unique. I'm not the same as that speaker. I'm not the same as that author. And they're not the same as me. So how do I say to people, come and work with me. Come and talk to me. Come and build a relationship with me. I have to stand out. And that takes courage to own your uniqueness, to be able to say, I am unique. I am quirky. I love unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
I think unicorns are the best freaking thing on the earth. And you know why? Because they're unique.
Mm-hmm.
They're really hard to find. But when you see them, you know exactly what they are. So I am a purple unicorn person. And that's what I just evolved in the last year to my academy, which is called Purple Unicorn Marketing Academy. I am unique. I stand up and speak about it. And that's why I want everybody else to have that courage to own how unique they are in any way. Our DNA says it. And if you want to stand out, if you want to reach people for any particular reason, whatever you're doing, whether it's just in life partnerships or just in career, or even if you want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be able to tell people, I am different to that person because of my experiences and my life experiences, my expertise. I'm different to that person. That means I have to say, hey, here I am. So be bold. And you don't have to dye your hair purple. And you don't have to wear purple because, I do know there are other colors in the spectrum. Mm-hmm. And, I respect people who like other colors. Do not understand them, but I respect it.
That's awesome. And I think that's really the point, right? The point is wherever your authenticity sits. And I remember when I first started, I built my business. I've had it for a time as well. And I built my business a lot in belly to belly. I hit the ranks of, I hit a lot of accolades and a lot of awards doing my business through trade shows, meeting people in person instead of doing social media. And I remember when I went to a woman who was really rocking it on social media. And we were having this conversation. She's like, you should do social. You'd hit. I'm like, I hit number one in my company. I'm not sure what else you want me to do. I'm pretty groovy with how I do my business. And for her, she was all about social media. And I'm like, that's cool. We're having this conversation. And she said, let me take a look at your social media. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you post too much about music. And I'm like, okay, why would you say that? And she's like, your business has nothing to do with music. Now we're talking maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. She goes, your business has nothing to do with music. And I'm like, you're right. And she's like, so who cares? She goes, look it on the likes, look it on your likes. Like when you post music, you get 3 likes, 4 likes. When you post about your business, when you post about other things like pictures of kitty cats or whatever, you get 40 likes. And I remember saying to her, I don't care. And I'm like, so if people don't like that I like music, but I like music, and it's interesting, right? Now I'm planning one of the largest, probably fundraisers, in terms of, in Ireland for music and what have you. And so here we are 7 years later, and things are different. But I think even if something's not your business, like I'm not in the music business, I coach and help people in the music business do the infrastructure of their business, but I'm not a singing coach. I don't have a recording studio. I love music, and people know me to love music, but it's a differentiator. And I think that my point is, no matter what it is that makes you different, it may not have to benefit anybody or anything. Like if you like cream or you like to knit and you are, on your social, or you're a business person and you have pictures of you knitting, I think it's as branding as if you are doing something that's really directly for your business, because it lets people know that there's other aspects of you as well, right? Like they might come to me to buy my book, but they're like, oh yeah, that's the chick that kind of likes music a bit too much.
Oh, absolutely, because you hear it all the time. Whatever you do, you've got to get to like, know, and trust people. And the like, knowing, and trusting, it's about finding out who the person is behind the branding, who the person is behind the business, who the person is behind the person that gets up every morning from 9 to 5 and goes into a corporation. It's like, if you're building a relationship with someone that you want to spend their life with, who is that person?
Yeah.
And that means finding out what they are. Now, for me, as I say to people, if you meet me on a podcast, if you see me on a video, if you read my books, if you go and see me speaking, if I'm on an online summit, if I walk in the door in a network meeting, you get me.
Yeah.
I'm quirky. I'm purple. I love unicorns. I have no problems about talking about any of that, because I am now very solidly on a foundation that I believe in who I am.
And I think that's also important too, making sure you feel comfortable, making sure you feel confident, making sure that maybe before you go and that you've had that conversation with yourself, like, I'm prepared for, someone in my life to go, what are you doing? Or that you just have your own self-independent competence around that, right? I'd say it's competence, even maybe more than confidence, but just like you are prepared when you put yourself out there or say what you say, that you own it. And when you said that you loved unicorns, now I know, I mean, we met and I started collecting unicorns way before anyone thought it was cool. I got a tattoo of a unicorn with a Pegasus on my back, and I lied. My girlfriend and I, honestly, you had to be 19 and we weren't anywhere close. And so she's like, come to this tattoo shop, because she was one of those kids that your parents like, I don't want you to hang out with her because she's a bad influence. And they were exactly right. And she's like, let's go get a tattoo. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I want, but I had 72 unicorns in my collection before I let my niece take over my unicorn house. You have a book house. I had a unicorn house. You are such a brilliant, how can I say it? Expansive woman. And I love how you own many aspects of yourself, and you're brave, and you've really clearly done a lot of personal development. You've clearly done a lot of personal development and a lot of personal growth. And so, look, people, if you want to come and meet Trish even more, she's going to be on stage with us May 11th. No, March 8th. You're on the March 8th, and May 11th, she's hanging with me because she's coming to Vancouver. So she double dipped, smart woman. And so March 8th, International Women's Day, 2024, you are going to come see this woman. She's going to speak. She's going to talk. She's part of the book. Tell people where they can reach you, because not everybody can visually see us. And we know in the show notes, it's all going to be there. But tell me, my unicorn friend, where can people reach you? And if you have a final message, please share it now.
Okay, look, you can reach me at trishspringsteen.com. Just think about Bruce Springsteen, the singer, and it's Trish Springsteen, spelt the same. And yes, before you ask me, he's a distant relation of my husband's. He's the black sheep of the family. That's all I can say. Look, all I can say to you is it's so freaking empowering when you own who you are and you believe in who you are. And that allows you to stand up and be unique and let people see you are the person they want to be with. And you can't do it unless you say, here I am, I'm unique, and I absolutely enjoy every single moment of my life.
All right. Those are incredible, powerful words. Thank you so much. You are the best audience. We love you. We appreciate you. We hope to see you on the Stand Up, Speak Up, and Show Up. And now you know why Trish jumped aboard that party. And if you'd like to be sitting where she is, honestly, we'd love for you to reach out and come on to the show. And until we see you again, you stay well and be groovy. Bye for now.